All right, so as you guys know, with the new rule in play, there's 7 teams to make the playoffs this year, NFC and AFC. And with free agency over and the draft done, you can kind of see how the league is shaping up to be. So we're gonna start off with Joel. Joel, give me your pick for the NFC. Who you think ain't gonna make it?
This is an easy pick. It was a team that had the worst draft out of any team in the NFL, possibly. And that team is the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers won't make the playoffs next season. I know people love Aaron Rodgers, but the Packers failed to give him any help. They lost Brian Bulaga, and they didn't draft any receivers, and they needed receivers. They lost Blake Martinez, Kyle Fackrell. They lost a lot of guys, Jimmy Graham as well. So I just don't see them making the playoffs this upcoming year. I think that the Vikings have a better roster. Chicago has a better roster as well. And I just think that last year they kind of had an easy schedule and kind of had an easy road to the playoffs. They're probably the worst 13-3 team I've ever seen in my life, and nobody was scared to face the Green Bay Packers. They were a really beatable team last year. So I don't think they make the playoffs next season, and I don't know what the future holds for Aaron Rodgers.
So you think the Eagles are gonna make the playoffs?
Do I think the Eagles will make the playoffs?
Yes. No, shut up. I got your answer. Thank you. JC, give me your pick for NFC. Who you think gonna miss the playoffs and why?
All right, so it's funny you just spoke on the Eagles. I actually think that they will not make the playoffs.
You're a hater.
And I'm not a hater. I'm not a hater. All right, so let's start with the Eagles. I mean, they have an injury-plagued roster. I mean, we saw that last year. You're an Eagles fan. You could attest to that. Deshaun Jackson, Alshon Jeffrey wasn't that good, that productive last year. And then your quarterback, Carson Wentz, who I'm very fond of, but he's starting to have a track record of not being able to finish seasons, like Joel has said.
Yeah.
So there's a big question mark with him, because if he's not there,
yeah.
And how dependable has he been? Really?
That's fair. That's fair.
I think you guys had one great free agency signing. I think Darius Slay was the best one, but you signed a total of 9 contracts, and 3 of them are not longer than a year. So you're gonna lose a lot of players. So I mean, my pick is the Eagles. Like I said, injury-plagued roster. Deshaun Jackson, I can't really trust him as much. Alshon Jeffrey, I know how you feel about him. You know how I feel about him. I don't think he's good at all.
Yo, Joel thinks he's good, bro.
Alshon Jeffrey isn't bad, though.
Joel thinks he's good, bro.
He's not bad.
Look. He's good, but he's not a number one. He's not
number 2.
He'd be a good number. I won't be mad to have him as a number 2. As a number 1, which he slotted on your team, he's not good.
That's what I've been saying.
And then it draws back to your quarterback, Carson Wentz. I love him. I think he's talented, but this dude can't stay healthy for anything. So the team that I have missing the playoffs is the Eagles from the NFC.
I mean, to Carson Wentz's defense, he was healthy. He was healthy last year. He just got injured in a playoff game. But I was kind of like confused at the comment that Riv made. I picked the Packers to not make the playoffs. That does not mean I think the Eagles will make the playoffs.
I asked the question, bro. I just asked the question. So
I know. I thought that you assumed that I thought the Eagles were gonna make it because I picked the Packers to not make it.
Oh no, with us, I never assume anything because the injuries always interfere with us, so I don't assume anything. You picked the Eagles because of injuries. You picked the Packers because they had the dumbest draft of all time. Moving on to the AFC, JC, we're going to start off with you. Who are you going to pick and why?
Okay, so in the AFC, it's kind of the same as the Eagles. I have the Houston Texans not making the playoffs. Reason is because, like the Eagles, I think they have an even more injury-plagued roster. I mean, they got Brandon Cooks, who didn't play much last year, Will Fuller, David Johnson, haven't seen him play a lick of football in 2 years, Randall Cobb, J.J. Watt's always hurt. I feel like we don't talk about that enough. Yo, that dude is always hurt. He's always hurt.
He's so good, though.
He's really good when he plays. Don't get me wrong. He's elite. But, dude, he's just always hurt every year. Like, I can count on J.J. Watt to always be hurt. Yeah, and I think they gave up their best player in DeAndre Hopkins. And like I said, I don't think Brandon Cooks, Will Fuller, and Randall Cobb, they can't stay healthy. I don't even think two of them could match the production that he has. So I'm going to say the Texans are not going to make the playoffs.
Wow. 2 of them can't match.
I mean, honestly, So, Riv, what would you rather have? DeAndre Hopkins, or would you rather have Brandon Cooks and Will Fuller?
Is that a serious question? Like, are you really asking
That's
that?
what I'm saying. I do it for
Nope.
who would you rather have? DeAndre Hopkins, Brandon Cooks, Will Fuller, and Randall Cobb, or DeAndre Hopkins? Like, who would you rather have?
Only because Nuke is gonna play 16 games. That's really it. Like, if they're all four of them healthy, I would take the 4, obviously. But
I mean, the three.
I would take
Oh,
the
yeah,
3.
you're counting
Obviously,
David Johnson.
Nah, I would take
David
it too.
but
counting David Johnson.
Nuke is gonna be healthy for 16 games. We know that. But Joel, talk to me. AFC, who you got and why?
So look, I was kind of upset because JC took my pick, and I had to think about which team. I had to think about which teams made the playoffs in the AFC. So I'm glad you didn't
off the
call
fly.
me first. So
Off
the
fly.
first team I thought about maybe the Titans. They might not make the playoffs, but
Because they were
said no.
Nuke, right?
I said no. I can't just let go of my faith in Ryan Tannehill that easy.
Yeah, you can't.
It's
you
not
can't
gonna
go back.
happen.
You can't go back.
But then I can, because then I remember that there's a team in the AFC East that just lost the best quarterback of all time in the Patriots. So of course I could pick that team not to make the playoffs.
That's a good one.
Even though the Texans was my first pick.
That's a good one.
The Texans was my first pick. They were my first pick. But, I mean, the Patriots, they have no offensive weapons. I'm not sure if David Andrews will be healthy. They drafted a bunch of tight ends. I don't know, like, if they're going to be good. And I'm not sure Jarrett Stidham. Like, I think Jarrett Stidham can be a really good quarterback in the league. But I don't think that he'll be a really good one out the bat because the weapons around him are just so horrible. Their defense is probably going to have to lead them. And I don't know, a tougher schedule. I don't see them making playoffs this upcoming season.
That's not a bad pick at all, actually.
Those are good picks. I like those.
I had to save Tannehill to Manahill. That's what it's all about.
I'd have picked the Patriots too. I'd have picked the Vikings though for the NFC. That's what I'd have picked to not make the playoffs.
The Vikings?
Yeah, I'd have had the Vikings not make it.